Fans, do we have a treat for you tonight? The Sugar Bowl has outdone itself. We usually have great players, great coaches, all getting interviewed in the 8 o'clock hour of the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup. And tonight, the Sugar Bowl has got us a great one. We've got the 1992 Sugar Bowl MVP. This dude was selected in the first round with the number 10th overall pick. He then went on to be the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He got the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award. He was a not one, not two, but six-time Pro Bowler. He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and he was a Super Bowl champion. Tonight on the program, right now, we got the boss, Jerome Bettis. Jerome, man, we really appreciate and we're honored to have you join our program tonight.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, so look, let's start out. Tell our listeners, how did you get the nickname The Boss?
Well, it actually started when I was at Notre Dame, when I was in college. Someone in the student body newspaper, they came up with the idea of that I reminded them of a bus, and I kind of took people to school or that kind of thing, something to that degree. I don't exactly know why. But what happened was they created this chant, and the student body used to say it. Nobody stops the bus. And every time I would get a long run, they would say this chant, and so it kind of stuck. And it didn't stick the full way, because when I went to the Rams, I became the battering ram. But when I went back to Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, where it's a huge Notre Dame contingency, it resurfaced, and I couldn't shake it. It was there to stay, and it's something that I took a liking to, and so comfortable with it now.
All right, let me ask you something too. I heard a rumor that one day at Notre Dame, the school paper comes out and you went around and stole like every school paper you can get your hands on. That's true?
Well, it wasn't about that. It wasn't about the nickname. So they put me on the cover of a it's called Blue and Gold Illustrated. And this was my sophomore year, and it was me in my uniform, and they spritzed me up, and I was looking all mean, and in the cover it said the Sultan of Six, and that was like, whoa, I made it, thinking that I was on the cover of this magazine, and that was the magazine I was trying to get my hands on.
Well, look, while you're playing at Notre Dame, you get to come down here to New Orleans. You're playing the 92 Sugar Bowl against Florida. Y'all come away victorious 39-28. Coach Holt said, I don't know if this is true or not, but he said that he was told the only difference between Notre Dame and Cheerios at that time was that Cheerios belonged in a bowl. So y'all wasn't getting any respect. And, man, it's your coming out party. And look, for the young ones that don't know, Google Jerome Bettis Sugar Bowl, and it's, for me, this is a 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes game. Just take us through what a wild ride. I mean, you score at the end of the game, like I said, 3-3, come away with the victory. That's got to be just shock and awe kind of a situation for you.
Yeah, so going into that game, Coach, he wrote the underdog mantra, and hey, they're not giving us any respect, and that was what the waiter said at the restaurant, which is probably 99% false, what Coach said. But what he did was he used that to motivate us, and he did an incredible job of it. And then he also talked about Spurrier, what Spurrier's going to do. Here's what he's going to do. And he kind of to a T spoke to what was going to transpire in the game. And so here's the game plan. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And so we went into the game super confident that we were going to win the game. And then as it turns out, things started to happen just like Coach said. So he started to do some things, Spurrier, that we were expecting. And so all of a sudden, we started to take advantage of some things. And defensively for us, it was, he said, hey, he's going to throw the ball. He's not going to run it. And, even if we put 8 guys back in the coverage, he's still going to throw the ball, right? And so we're like, what? So Coach designed our defense that rushed like, four guys and, rushed three guys and dropped eight. And so his thing was, we probably won't get to him, but he's going to have very small windows to throw to. And as it turns out, he was 100% correct there. But then offensively, he said, hey, we are going to pound it and we're going to run it down their throats. And, we kept going and pounding and pounding. And then the levee kind of broke in that third and fourth quarter when we started to get it going, and I had a big run in there. Well, we started. I think the first touchdown was not the big one.
Yeah, that was like the 3-yard one. The second one.
Yes, the first one was the 3-yard one that we kind of pounded them all the way down the field, and we scored a boom. And then the next series, we were able to stop them. We get the ball back, and maybe like second, third play, bang! I hit a long one. Right up the gut, like he said, I think I was 49 or 50-yard run, something like that.
And then some dude in a suit comes out from the end zone and starts celebrating with y'all. I don't know where he came from, but that's
I don't know who that was.
Just some random dude in a suit.
I have no idea. I wish I could see who that was, but I have no idea. But then it started the momentum was clearly in our favor, and our defense kind of, rolled with that, jumped on that, and then, got them going, and then we went down for another back-breaking drive, and we just methodically went down, bang, 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 and then again, I finally went in for a touchdown and started doing the little gator thing in the end zone, and it was a magical moment for me, Obviously, I was a sophomore, finishing my sophomore year, which was a huge year for me because I had all these touchdowns that year, and I was like in the top 2 or 3 of touchdowns in the country. So it was really the exclamation mark for me on a incredible sophomore season that would set me up to have a great junior year, and then obviously to look at the opportunities of going to the NFL. But it all started, it kind of kicked off at that Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, and then obviously, party at Pato's, only fitting for the Irish to go down to Bourbon Street and have a drink at Pato's to celebrate the win, right?
I wish.
So look,
not quite.
So look, you get drafted 10th overall by the Rams. Spent a few years with them, and then in '96, things doesn't seem like going the way you wanted it to be. You go back and enrolled to get your degree at Notre Dame, and then everything happens for a reason, man. And then bam, you wind up with the Steelers in the off season. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was, it was a difficult situation, and I was absolutely fed up with playing for the Rams, and I basically told them, hey, I'm going to retire if, you guys don't trade me. I'm going back to school now, and that was my plan. And so we met with the brass with the Rams, and basically they allowed us to seek a trade, me and my agent, and then we reached out to a few teams, and it came down to the Steelers and the Houston Oilers at the time, and I just knew the Steelers coming off of a lost championship opportunity that they were going to be hungry. They already had a championship caliber team, so I said to myself, "Hey, this is the opportunity for me." So went to Pittsburgh. Was the greatest decision I could have ever made because, here's a team and a city who love big running backs, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So it was just a perfect opportunity for me to go in and plant myself, and then to go out and play, extremely well, and then ingratiate myself with the city. It was a great career move, if you will, for myself.
Talking with Jerome Bettis, the boss. Jerome, you get success several years with the Steelers. Don't really get to the Super Bowl, and it looks like for a second time in your career, the bus is coming to an end. But, rumor has it after that So close, man. That AFC Championship game, Ben Roethlisberger, he's a rookie at that time. He promises, look, man, I'll get you back to the Super Bowl. And you figure things out in the offseason and figure, man, what better way to close out my career than to come back and try to play in the Super Bowl in my home city of Detroit. And sure enough, it just happens like that, right?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't. It didn't feel like that. It sounds good in retrospect as we play it back and say, hey, yeah, we did this and made all the right decisions. But in that moment, I just knew my career was over. And I said, I thanked my teammates at the team meeting and told them that I was retiring, and that was the end of it. And, told Coach that I was done. And he said, hey, just give us some time and let's talk about it in a month or two. I went home and at the time was living in Atlanta, came down. My daughter was born, in days after I left Pittsburgh. And then I'm saying I'm ready for my next chapter, if you will, of my life. And ready to turn the page on football. I get a phone call, and it is the league office. And they said, well, Corey Dillon broke his ribs, and he can't go to the Pro Bowl. Will you be willing to go to the Pro Bowl? Well, I decided to, yes, not knowing
free trip to Hawaii, man, you in, right?
Well, yeah, but I just had a daughter. My daughter was a preemie, so she was in ICU. And so the last thing I'm thinking about is going to Hawaii. My wife is, at the hospital all day, and I'm at the hospital all day. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, what? But then I said, let's talk about it. And me and the wife talked about it. And she said, hey, if you really want to retire, this will soothe the bad taste that's in your mouth from that AFC Championship loss. And if, you can go out on a positive note. And it made a lot of sense. And I said, you know what? You're right. Let's end the negative side and let's try to do something positive. So I decided to go to the Pro Bowl. But what I didn't realize that year, I think we had like 8 or 10 guys who had made the Pro Bowl because that year we went 15-1. So we had a ton of guys. So those 8 or 9 guys, they brought other teammates. So we probably had 20, 25 teammates there. And then because we lost in the AFC Championship at the time, the loser of the AFC Championship game, the coaching staff went to coach the Pro Bowl. And so all of a sudden, I've got 20 teammates, I've got the coaching staff, the owner, everybody's there, and they decided to have this Steeler luau for all the Steeler players. And so a couple of the guys pulled me aside and they said, man, it's going to be a shame that, we're going to go to the Super Bowl next year in your hometown of Detroit and you're not going to be there. And that's when I said, what? I didn't realize the Super Bowl was in Detroit. So that got me thinking. And then I came back and I talked to my wife. I said, hey, I'm thinking about it. And she says, if you're thinking about it, if you're asking me, that means you already made your mind up. Yeah. and then that was it. And decided to come back. And the rest is history.
Man, awesome career. You ended with a Super Bowl victory in your hometown.
My hometown.
Right. Go on to get elected to the Hall of Fame. And now, like you were talking to earlier, you're kind of in your second career now, doing a lot of community involvement with your organization, the Bus Stops Here. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I started the Bus Stops Here Foundation over 30 years ago now, and the idea was to try to help empower a segment of the community that was being underserviced and underutilized, and that was the at-risk kids. And the reason I say that, because I was one of those kids growing up. I was an at-risk kid. And so we try to work with those kids in that we want to provide opportunities for them, because what we see is all they need is the right tools. They need a strong arm around their shoulders, pushing them, let them know, hey, you can do it. You can be successful if you're given the opportunity, given the same resources that other kids are giving. You can have the same success that these other kids are having. And so that became my focus, and so we've been pounding the pavement, trying to make a change, and with the different programs that we have and communities that we've entered, and it's fulfilling, because I know I was one of those kids, and the foundation similar to mine helped me experience and reach my full potential. And so that's my goal, is to try to help as many kids as I can reach their full potential.
That's so awesome, man. I know pretty much every big city has something like that, and a lot of former players giving back and helping out those kids. So, as a show that's kind of dedicated to those kids in high school, it's just awesome to see you and your foundation doing that and giving back.
Well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So look, Jerome, I know you're busy, man. We really appreciate you coming on, but I got to tell you, you come on the show, you got to take a bar exam. I had to take the bar exam to be a licensed lawyer, so the guests get to take bar exams here. So I know you went back to Notre Dame, all right? I know you got your degree, but unfortunately for you, you got one more test. But this is going to be easy, not 3 days, 60 seconds, true, false only, all right?
Okay, all right.
All right, let's go. 60 seconds on the clock. True, false only. True or false, when you were young, your favorite sport was tennis?
False.
When you were young, your favorite sport was bowling?
True.
You bowled your first perfect game before you graduated from high school?
False.
You wanted to be a bowler at Ohio State?
Actually, false.
Okay. Professional bowlers make more money than professional football players?
False.
Your college coach was Lou Valden?
False.
Your college coach was Lou Holtz?
True.
At Notre Dame, you played with Tim Brown?
False.
At Notre Dame, you played with Rocket Ismail?
True.
One day after practice, you beat Rocket in a foot race?
False.
One day after practice, you beat Rocket in a hamburger eating contest?
That would be more like true, but it didn't happen.
You played for the Steelers with Hines Ward?
True.
Heinz Field was named after Hines Ward?
False.
You and Hines had a touchdown competition one season?
True.
You lost because your winning touchdown got called back because Hines lined up wrong?
Oh, true.
He did it on purpose?
True.
You recently returned to Notre Dame to get your bachelor's degree?
True.
When you did, you auditioned to be the Leprechaun mascot?
False.
You eat Lucky Charms?
True.
You drink Guinness beer?
True.
Your Hall of Fame jacket is a size 42?
False.
We're up against the clock. Last one. You and Eminem went to high school together?
False.
All right, there we go. Jerome Bettis. Bus, you passed, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
All right. There he is, former MVP of the Super Bowl, former NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, first-round draft pick, comeback player of the year, six-time Pro Bowler, Walter Payton Man of the Year, Super Bowl champion, and Hall of Famer Jerome Bettis. Don't touch the dial. We're going to come back. We'll get you more updates right here on the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup, only on WWL.